What if the secret to changing your entire world has been hidden inside you this entire time? It's a profound question, one that challenges everything we've been taught about success and happiness. We live in a culture that screams for external validation, that measures worth by possessions, titles, and the approval of others. We are conditioned to believe that peace is a destination we arrive at once all our problems are solved. But what if that's the greatest illusion of all? What if the chaos of the outside world is merely a reflection of the untamed landscape within your own mind? For years, I was caught in this same trap. I chased promotions, acquisitions, and relationships, believing that the next achievement would finally be the one to quiet the internal restlessness. I was looking for a finish line that didn't exist. The turning point came not from a grand external victory, but from a moment of profound internal collapse and the subsequent discovery of an ancient wisdom. I discovered that the true transformation, the kind that makes the unimaginable a reality, begins not by frantically reshaping the world to fit our desires, but by courageously mastering the inner world of our thoughts, perceptions, and judgments. This is the foundational insight of Stoicism, and it is the single most empowering shift you can ever make. In this video, we are going to embark on a deep and practical journey through 10 foundational Stoic principles. This isn't just theoretical philosophy. This is an operating system for the mind, a collection of mental technologies designed to awaken a strength and resilience you may have forgotten you possess. These ideas are your tools to not only endure life's inevitable difficult seasons, but to emerge from them with a clarity, power, and sense of purpose that actively reshapes your destiny. We will move from the inner citadel of your own mind out into the world, building layer upon layer of unshakable character. Let's begin with the very bedrock of a resilient life, the cultivation of unshakable calm. Imagine you are the captain of a ship, not on a placid lake, but in the heart of a ferocious open ocean storm. Waves the size of buildings rise to block your path. The wind screams with a voice that seems intent on your destruction, and the sky is a swirling canvas of menacing grey. Yet, amid this chaos, your gaze remains fixed on the distant horizon, your hands are steady on the wheel, and your breath is deep and measured. You are not ignoring the storm, you are fully aware of its power, but you are not at its mercy. This powerful metaphor is the essence of unshakable calm, a Stoic state of profound tranquility known as ataraxia, which is not the absence of turmoil, but the profound peace that exists in spite of it. Life's storms are not possibilities, they are inevitabilities. Professional setbacks that feel like personal failures, personal conflicts that tear at the heart, unexpected illnesses, or financial hardships that arrive without warning, these are the towering waves of our human experience. The naive goal is to wish for a life of perpetually calm seas. The Stoic goal, the empowered goal, is to become such a skilled navigator that no wave, no matter its size, can capsize your inner vessel. As the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his private journal, your tranquility is a product of your mind's own order. He understood that the chaos outside could never be eliminated, but the order inside was his to command. Every single challenge, from a minor irritation to a major catastrophe, is a drill. It is a training exercise sent by life to fortify your inner resolve and to practice the art of remaining composed. Your peace is not the absence of storm, but the cultivated stillness you can access within it. So, how do we actively build this? It requires both preparation and a radical shift in perspective. In my own daily routine, this begins before the world has a chance to impose its chaos. I start each day with at least 20 minutes of quiet reflection. This isn't merely daydreaming, it is a purposeful mental rehearsal. I visually walk through the potential challenges the day might hold, a difficult conversation, a demanding project, a personal trigger. I don't just see the problem, I see myself meeting it with a composed heart, a clear head, and a principled response. This practice is not about pessimistically expecting the worst. It is about proactively armoring your mind against the tyranny of impulsive, emotional reactions. It is the difference between being a leaf blown by the wind and being the tree with deep roots that sways but never breaks. What if you could create a pocket of this stillness at will in the middle of a stressful meeting or a personal conflict? This is where the practical art of mindful presence becomes crucial. By consciously anchoring your awareness in the raw data of the current moment, feeling of your feet on the floor, the sound of a distant bird, the rhythm of your breath, you effectively mute the debilitating background noise of past regrets and future anxieties. I also practice relentlessly reframing my inner dialogue. The mind is a storyteller, and often it tells horror stories. When faced with an obstacle, my default story might be, "This is a disaster. I can't handle this." I have trained myself to consciously interrupt that narrative and affirm, "This is a temporary situation. I have navigated difficulty before, and I have the capacity and resources to handle this now." This deliberate shift in self-talk is not positive thinking. It is accurate thinking, and it serves as a powerful anchor in a swirling sea of emotion. And here is the profound strategic advantage that a calm mind offers. It is a clear mind. When your cognitive processes are not clouded by the static of turbulent emotions like fear, anger, or panic, your decision-making undergoes a fundamental shift. It moves from being reactive and short-sighted to being profoundly intentional and long-term. You stop making choices from a place of lack and fear, and you start making them from a place of aligned purpose and virtue. You begin to ask, what is the right thing to do here? Rather than, what will make this feeling go away fastest? Are you ready to make this unclouded clarity your greatest asset in life and leadership? Let's move to our second principle, which provides the power to execute from that place of clarity, the discipline of will. Now, picture yourself in a different scenario. You are facing a monumental task, a life goal that seems almost absurd in its scale. You have limited time, limited resources, and every concerted attempt to advance seems to push you backward, as if you're wading through concrete. This is the ultimate test, and it is not a test of your talent, your intelligence, or your connections. It is a pure, unadulterated test of your will. From my own experience, cultivating an iron will isn't just one component of success. It is the very engine of it. It is the primal force that allows you to transmute the lead of adversity into the gold of achievement and character. The Roman orator and Stoic thinker Cicero noted that the true weight of a challenge is measured not by the sheer effort it demands, but by the quality and quantity of resolve you consciously choose to pour into it. I vividly recall a professional project a few years ago that seemed destined for failure. Deadlines were missed, team morale was plummeting, and the easy, logical path was to surrender, to write it off as a learning experience, and move on. But in that moment of despair, I made a conscious decision. I chose to see the entire situation not as a threat, but as a gym for my willpower. I committed to persisting, not solely for the potential of a successful outcome, but for the person I would be forced to become in the process, a person of greater resilience, patience, and determination. The project itself became secondary. The primary project was the forging of my own character. Willpower, much like a muscle, demands consistent and conscious training. It atrophies with disuse and strengthens under resistance. One of the most effective and practical methods I've ever used is the deconstruction of overwhelming, monolithic goals into a series of small, manageable, and specific actions. This process does two things brilliantly. It reduces the mental friction and paralysis that comes from staring up at a mountain, and it crucially generates a series of minor victories. Each small win releases a dose of dopamine, creating a positive feedback loop that builds motivational momentum. For instance, when tasked with writing a long and complex report, I forbid myself from thinking about the entire 50-page document. My only job is to outline the first section. Then, my only job is to write the first 2 paragraphs of that section. Each completed part is not a small step. It is a concrete victory, a brick laid in the foundation of your finished goal. The arch nemesis of will is, without a doubt, procrastination. To defeat this sly adversary, you need more than vague hope or fleeting motivation. You need a ruthless system. For me, implementing a rigid, almost militaristic daily schedule was a game changer. I began assigning specific, non-negotiable time blocks to my most important tasks. I learned to respect my own time as a sacred resource, and in doing so, I commanded that same respect from my circumstances and from others. The world treats your time with the same level of seriousness with which you treat it yourself. Consider historical pillars of will like Marcus Aurelius. His Stoic practice was not an academic hobby. It was the essential discipline that sustained him through brutal wars, political betrayal, and the immense burden of ruling the Roman Empire. His private writings, known as Meditations, reveal a man constantly in the gym of his own will, strengthening it through relentless self-examination and a profound sense of duty to others. Let these examples be more than inspiring stories. Let them be tangible proof of what becomes possible when you make the fundamental decision to master yourself first. Your greatest power is not in never falling. It is in the disciplined will to begin again, and again, and again. This relentless forward pressure, however, must be tempered with wisdom, which brings us to our third principle, the art of acceptance. Now, imagine you are caught in a storm once more, but this time it is both literal and figurative. Dark clouds of misfortune gather on every horizon, and the winds of change threaten to dismantle everything you have carefully built. It is in these moments that the Stoic philosopher Epictetus offers his most vital navigational star. Strength is found not in fighting the gale, but in knowing how to adjust your sails. How can we apply this radical, often misunderstood, concept of acceptance to cultivate not passivity, but unbreakable resilience? The first and most critical distinction to make is that Stoic acceptance is not surrender. It is not apathy or defeatism. It is, rather, the clear-eyed, courageous recognition of reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. It is the practice of diligently sorting the events of our lives into 2 categories, that which is within our control and that is not. Several years ago, I experienced a painful professional setback. I lost a job I was deeply passionate about due to company-wide budget cuts that were completely beyond my influence. The initial feeling was one of profound powerlessness and injustice. But after the initial shock, a Stoic realization dawned. I could not control the corporate decision. I could not turn back time. The only thing that remained within the sphere of my absolute control was my response to this event. I could choose to be a victim of circumstance, or I could choose to transform this setback into a platform for reinvention. I chose the latter. A resilient mindset, therefore, asks a fundamentally different question in the face of hardship. The default, egocentric question is, why is this happening to me? This question leads only to resentment and a sense of victimhood. The resilient question is, now that this is happening, what can I learn from it? What paths is it revealing that I was previously blind to? This shifts your focus from the problem itself, which you may not be able to change, to your potential response, your potential solutions, and the hidden opportunities nestled within the difficulty. Flexibility and adaptability become your superpowers. In my case, the unexpected free time became a gift. I used it to upskill in areas I'd long neglected, to network in new directions, and to reconnect with my core values. This period of acceptance didn't just ultimately make me more employable. It reignited my sense of purpose and direction in a way the old job never could. Finding strength amid profound uncertainty is a daily practice. For me, this is where daily meditation and deep reflection become indispensable. Each morning, I take time not just to plan, but to acknowledge my own inherent capabilities and to anchor myself in a felt sense of gratitude for what remains. This ritual builds a foundation of inner calm that persists even when the external future is completely opaque and frightening. It is vital to remember that acceptance and resilience are not states to be mastered in a day. They are a continuous, lifelong journey of learning, adaptation, and gentle self-correction. I've found immense value in a nightly journaling practice, where I review the day's challenges and my responses to them with ruthless honesty, but without self-flagellation. This creates a powerful feedback loop for personal growth, allowing me to see my progress over time and to pinpoint areas where my acceptance wavered and my judgment became clouded by emotion. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it. Your external circumstances provide the raw material, but your mind is the craftsman. Wield your thoughts with intention, practice the art of acceptance, and you will discover you can navigate any storm, not with white-knuckled resistance, but with the graceful, resilient strength of a sailor who knows how to sail." Now, let's explore our fourth principle, which is the practice that makes both calm and acceptance possible: the power of presence. Take a real, physical moment right now. Stop reading in your mind and just notice. Feel the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Feel the weight of your body in your chair. Look around and find one single object to observe: a pen, a cup, a speck of dust on your desk. Notice its color, its texture, its shape. For these few seconds, let there be nowhere else to be. Nothing to fix, nothing to plan, nothing to regret. This simple, profound act is the essence of presence. Marcus Aurelius began his days by reminding himself of the precious privilege of being alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This sentiment is the very heart of mindfulness, which is the practiced ability to be fully engaged in the eternal now, without being violently pulled into the haunting ghosts of the past or the seductive, anxious illusions of the future. It is a feeling of liberation, of coming home to yourself. But how do we achieve this state in a world that is engineered to distract us? First, we must compassionately acknowledge our mind's natural default tendency to wander. It is a storytelling machine, and it loves to replay old, painful scripts from our past and pre-write anxious, often catastrophic, scripts for our future. This mental time travel doesn't serve us. It actively drains us of the vitality, beauty, and agency that are available only in the present moment. Mindfulness, then, is not a mystical state, but the conscious, disciplined act of returning. It is a repetitive workout for your attention muscle, bringing it back from its wanderings over and over and over again. For example, as I speak these words now, I am practicing this. I am focusing on the intention behind each sentence, feeling the support of the chair beneath me, hearing the subtle nuances of the music in the background. I am immersing myself completely in the act of sharing this message with you. This quality of deep, undivided attention can be brought to any activity, no matter how mundane. It transforms obligation into experience. Ask yourself with genuine curiosity, are you truly tasting your food when you eat, or are you just consuming fuel while watching a screen? When you are in a conversation with someone you love, Are you genuinely listening to the nuances of their voice and the meaning behind their words, or are you merely waiting for your turn to speak, already formulating your response? These are the practical, daily arenas where the battle for presence is won or lost. A simple but profoundly powerful exercise to build this muscle is mindful observation. Pick any object near you right now: a plant, your own hands, a coffee mug. Spend just 60 seconds studying it as if you are a scientist from another planet, seeing it for the very first time. Notice every minute detail, every shadow it casts, every subtle variation in its color or hue. You will find that this simple, focused act acts like a soft reset for your brain, clearing the mental clutter and firmly planting you back in the tangible reality of the here and now. Focused breathing is another timeless anchor. You can do this anywhere. Close your eyes and direct your entire awareness to the physical sensation of your breath. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, the expansion of your ribs, the gentle fall of your chest as you exhale. Your mind will drift, that is its nature. The practice is not to stop the drifting, but to notice it has happened, and without judgment, gently guide your attention back to the breath. This practice not only cultivates presence, but also instills a deep, underlying calm that permeates your entire nervous system. The key to a fulfilling and vibrant life is found right here, in this present moment. A mindful existence gradually frees you from the heavy burdens of past regret and future worry, allowing you to fully appreciate the richness, texture, and beauty of each moment as it unfolds. It's about finding a deep contentment with what is, rather than perpetually lamenting what was or anxiously fearing what might be. I encourage you to embrace mindfulness not as another item on your to-do list, but as a new way of relating to your entire life with more wonder, curiosity, and gratitude. The present moment is not a stepping stone to somewhere else. It is the only place where life truly, actually exists. Our fifth principle moves us from internal mastery to external action, a life guided by virtue. In the dense, often confusing forest of life, where paths are many, signposts are few, and temptations abound, we all need a reliable, truth-telling compass. That compass is virtue. It doesn't always point to the easiest, most comfortable, or most profitable route, but it always points to the right one. It points toward a life of integrity, meaning, and lasting fulfillment. Living by a conscious moral code is simple to understand in theory, but it is profoundly challenging to execute when the daily pressures of life tempt us to compromise, to cut corners, to choose the path of least resistance. Yet, as Seneca wisely observed, a life without obstacles is not a full life. The obstacles are not interruptions to a virtuous life. They are the very training ground for it. Let's explore the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues, not as abstract concepts, but as practical tools for navigating life's complexities with wisdom and strength. The first is wisdom. This is not merely the accumulation of knowledge, but the light of applied understanding that illuminates the path ahead. It is practical judgment that allows you to find words that heal and build bridges, even in the heat of a disagreement. It is the ability to see the core of a problem, stripped of its emotional baggage. The second is courage. This is not the absence of fear, but the strength to feel the fear, to acknowledge its presence, and to act in spite of it in accordance with your principles. Imagine the visceral fear of public speaking. Courage is not the person who feels no nerves, but the person who feels their heart pounding and still chooses to step onto the stage to share an important message. It is the force that compels you to do what is right, even when it is difficult or frightening. The third is justice. This virtue calls you to look beyond your own self-interest and to actively consider the well-being of others, often placing their needs on par with or even ahead of your own. In a world that frequently rewards and celebrates naked self-interest, to act justly is a conscious, countercultural choice to prioritize fairness, kindness, and the common good. Think of a time you assisted a colleague or a stranger simply because it was the right thing to do, expecting nothing in return. The fourth is temperance. Perhaps the most challenging virtue to cultivate in our age of instant gratification and overwhelming consumer choice. Temperance is the mastery over our desires and passions. It is not the elimination of pleasure, but the profound satisfaction that comes from foregoing a short-term, fleeting pleasure for a more meaningful, long-term reward. It is the power to say enough in a world that always screams more. For me, this is the very essence of self-control and personal freedom. These four virtues, when woven together into the fabric of your daily life, create an existence not just of moral integrity, but of deep, unshakable meaning and fulfillment. When your decisions, both large and small, are rooted in this virtuous framework, you build an unassailable character and a more authentic, reliable happiness. From Marcus Aurelius striving to rule a vast empire with justice and wisdom, to modern figures like Nelson Mandela demonstrating unwavering courage and a commitment to justice through decades of imprisonment, their stories are not myths. They are proof of principle. They light the way. When you stand at any of life's countless crossroads, train yourself to ask this simple but powerful question: what would the wisest, bravest, fairest, and most disciplined version of me choose to do in this situation? Let virtue be your guide, and you will find that the path, though sometimes steeper and less traveled, always leads to the summit of true personal accomplishment and a peace that cannot be taken from you. This deep, intentional living requires that we truly know who we are, which leads us to our sixth principle, the journey of self-knowledge. I want to share a pivotal, transformative moment in my own exploration of Stoicism. It began not with a complex philosophical treatise, but with a simple yet earth-shattering realization. Self-awareness is the non-negotiable bedrock of all genuine growth, wisdom, and resilience. You cannot master a machine without first understanding its operating manual, and you cannot master your life without first understanding the instrument through which you experience it, your own self. The ancient Stoic teacher Epictetus, who was born a slave, taught, "Know yourself, and you will cease to be concerned by the opinions of others." When I first encountered those words during a period of deep doubt and external seeking, they didn't just land in my mind. They struck a chord that reverberated through my entire being, shaking loose the foundations of my identity. Stoic philosophy, grounded in relentless self-inquiry, gave me the structured framework I needed to build a stable foundation within myself. I understood that to remain steady in the chaos of the external world, I first had to intimately, and often uncomfortably, know my own strengths, my vulnerabilities, my triggers, and my deeply ingrained patterns of thought. Have you ever sat in absolute, uncompromising honesty with your own limitations? It is a humbling and terrifying experience, but it is also the birthplace of true power. This process of deep introspection is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable discipline for anyone seeking a resilient and self-directed mind. Over time, I developed and committed to specific practices designed to systematically deepen self-awareness. One was a dedicated daily meditation, a sacred, non-negotiable space for untangling my thoughts and observing the workings of my own mind without immediately identifying with them. Another was maintaining a detailed private journal, which became a confidant and a mirror. In it, I recorded not just the events of the day, but my emotional and mental reactions to them. I asked questions like, why did that comment make me so angry? Or, what fear was driving my need to control that situation? I invite you to try these methods for yourself. You may be astonished to uncover the hidden drivers, the unconscious beliefs, and the forgotten wounds that have been directing your actions from the shadows. This is the process of unlocking a more authentic, integrated, and powerful version of yourself. As my self-knowledge slowly and steadily expanded, I found myself making decisions that were wiser, more mature, and more aligned with my long-term well-being. My choices ceased to be reactions to the shifting expectations of the crowd, the pressures of my peers, or the whims of popular culture. They became expressions of my core values. This liberation from the tyranny of external validation was one of the most freeing experiences of my life, allowing me to pursue my goals with a newfound integrity and conviction. One of the most powerful exercises I adopted from Stoic practice was the habit of deep questioning. In the face of a conflict or a difficult decision, instead of reacting immediately from a place of raw emotion, I trained myself to insert a pause. In that pause, I would ask, which part of this situation is truly important for my long-term evolution? Is my impending action guided by a core principle, or is it being driven by a fleeting, temporary emotion like pride, fear, or a desire for approval? This simple discipline of questioning created a space between stimulus and response, and in that space, I found my freedom and my power to choose. I encourage you, with all sincerity, to embark on your own voyage of self-discovery. It will not always be comfortable or easy. In fact, it will often be challenging. Sometimes, the mirror of self-reflection reveals aspects of ourselves we would rather not see. But, as Marcus Aurelius suggested, the soul's mirror is inherently clear. We need only dare to wipe away the dust of self-deception, distraction, and fear. Train your mind through meditation and journaling. Commit to knowing yourself with radical honesty, and you will step into a life of profound awareness, authenticity, and personal authority. Are you prepared to begin this most important of all journeys? Remember, the most powerful, compelling, and impactful story you will ever tell is the story you tell about yourself, and ultimately, the story of your own life. Our seventh principle deals with the turbulent sea that this self-knowledge must navigate, mastering your emotional current. Now, imagine a high-pressure situation where everything seems deliberately designed to test your limits. Your heart races, your palms sweat, stress hormones flood your system, and your thinking becomes narrow and reactive. This is the critical moment, the moment of truth, where you have the opportunity to demonstrate one of the most crucial and practical Stoic skills: the ability to command your emotional state rather than be commanded by it. Let me share a personal story of how I learned to remain anchored during a period of significant personal crisis. It felt as if successive emotional waves were crashing over me, each one threatening to pull me under into a state of panic and despair. It was in that darkness that I clung to a quote from Marcus Aurelius that became my literal lifeline. He wrote, "You possess power over your mind, not outside events. Understand this, and you will discover strength." I repeated this to myself like a mantra, not as a magical incantation, but as a reminder of a fundamental truth. My power resided not in changing the uncontrollable events, but in steering my internal reaction to them. I actively employed a powerful technique known from Stoic teachings as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of challenges. This is often misunderstood as negative thinking. It is not. It is proactive mental preparation. Each morning, I would dedicate a portion of my meditation to mentally rehearse potential obstacles I might face. That day, a difficult conversation, a potential failure, a personal trigger. I wouldn't just imagine the problem. I would vividly imagine myself navigating it with a calm and rational mind, holding fast to my principles. This practice wasn't about inviting disaster. It was about building a psychological and emotional buffer against the tyranny of impulsive, fear-based reactions. By meeting the challenge in my mind first, I was inoculating myself against its shock in reality. I also learned the incredible power of emotional labeling, a practice akin to what the Stoics called objective distancing. Instead of unconsciously declaring, "I am angry," which fuses my identity with the emotion, I began to consciously state, "I am experiencing the feeling of anger." This subtle but profound linguistic shift creates a critical space between my core, observing self, and the temporary, passing emotional weather. It allowed me to look at the feeling of anger, to study it, to understand its triggers without becoming it. I could observe the feeling like a passing storm cloud in the vast sky of my mind, acknowledging its presence without being consumed by its turbulence. When we are emotionally charged and identified with our feelings, it is incredibly easy to lose sight of our core values and to act in ways that we later deeply regret. We say things we don't mean, we make impulsive decisions, we damage relationships. Stoic wisdom teaches that our real power, our true freedom, lies exclusively in our chosen response to any event. We can't control the actions of others, the fluctuations of the market, or the unexpected tragedies of life. But we have absolute sovereignty over our interpretation of these events and our subsequent reaction to them. This is the inviolable fortress of the Stoic mind. Another foundational method for emotional mastery is the simple, always available return to the anchor of the present moment. In the middle of a heated, emotional discussion, I will sometimes consciously call an internal timeout. I will pause and focus my entire awareness on the physical sensation of my breath moving in and out of my body. I feel my feet firmly on the floor. This simple somatic act grounds me instantly, pulling me back from the edge of an emotional reaction and into a space of conscious awareness where I can respond with logic, principle, and empathy rather than react with raw, unprocessed emotion. These strategies are not just for emergencies or major crises. They are daily, rep-by-rep practices for building an inner citadel of peace, brick by brick. They not only dramatically enhance your own emotional well-being and decision-making, but also, almost as a side effect, make you a source of stability, clarity, and strength for everyone around you. As Seneca so perfectly urged, the greatest step towards progress is the desire to progress. Make the conscious decision to integrate these Stoic habits into your daily life, and you will witness a profound transformation in your ability to navigate any and all difficulty with poise, wisdom, and an unshakable inner calm. Our eighth principle introduces a transformative force that can redefine your entire experience of life: the alchemy of gratitude. Imagine waking each day, and in those first few moments of consciousness, before any other thought of lack, obligation, or anxiety has a chance to take root, you feel a genuine, deep, and warming appreciation for the simple, staggering fact of being alive. This is not a superficial, quick thanking the universe before you check your phone. It is a rooted, felt recognition of the gifts, opportunities, and beauties that are inherent in existence itself. Even within the struggles, I am speaking to you directly now because I want you to see this practice not as another chore on a self-improvement checklist, but as the master key to your own emotional and psychological liberation. There was a long chapter in my life where everything felt grey, monotonous, and repetitive. I was trapped in a cycle of negativity, focusing only on what was wrong, what was missing, and what could go wrong in the future. I was, as Henry David Thoreau would say, living a life of quiet desperation. Then I read the words of Epictetus. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. That single, piercing idea reoriented my entire compass. It shifted my focus from the horizon of what I lacked to the ground of what I possessed. I made a daily gratitude practice non-negotiable. The first thing, upon waking, before even rising from bed, I would lie still and mentally list 3 specific things I was truly thankful for. Initially, my list was filled with the foundational, often overlooked basics: my health, the roof over my head, access to clean water and nourishing food, the love of my family. But as I persisted with this discipline day after day, my awareness began to sharpen and expand. I began to notice and sincerely appreciate the more subtle textures of life. The unexpected kindness of a stranger who held a door open, the toned, intricate, beautiful pattern of frost on my window on a cold morning, the quiet, profound peace of the house in the early morning before anyone else was awake, the taste of a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. This daily ritual of seeking out the good fundamentally altered my perception of reality. I began to see that there was always something to be thankful for, no matter how dire the external circumstances might appear. This is where I need you to pause and truly reflect. How many blessings, how many small miracles do you overlook each day because your attention is monopolized by what you believe is missing or flawed? To maintain and strengthen this mindset, I incorporated supportive practices. One was the keeping of a physical gratitude journal. Each night, as the last act of my day, I would write down 3 new, specific things I was grateful for from that particular day. The act of writing solidifies the feeling. Another powerful tactic was cognitive reframing. When I caught myself complaining or spiraling into negativity about a situation, like being stuck in traffic, I would actively stop and search for a positive angle or a hidden gift. That traffic jam became a forced opportunity to listen to an inspiring audiobook, to practice patience, or simply to have a few quiet, uninterrupted minutes to myself with my own thoughts. It became increasingly clear to me that gratitude is intrinsically linked to the Stoic art of acceptance that we discussed earlier. Acceptance isn't passive resignation to a negative situation. It is the conscious act of recognizing and valuing what is, even if it is not exactly what you would have chosen. And within that clear-eyed acceptance lies a profound peace, born from the deep knowing that while we can't control every event that unfolds in our lives, we always, without exception, retain the power to control our perspective and our attitude towards it. Your perspective is your home. You can choose to make it a profane prison of lack or a palace of gratitude. I urge you to begin building a daily, non-negotiable habit of thankfulness. Be genuinely grateful for every meal that nourishes your body, for every moment of rest that restores your spirit, for every interaction, even the difficult ones, that offers you a chance to learn and grow. Remember, gratitude is not a passive feeling. It is a radiant force that emanates outward from you, positively impacting the mood and well-being of everyone you interact with. As Marcus Aurelius reflected in his private moments, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. You have the power to choose your thoughts. So, choose to fill your mind with grateful, abundant thoughts and watch, almost miraculously, as your external reality begins to transform to match your internal state. Gratitude performs a kind of alchemy. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Our 9th principle addresses one of the greatest obstacles on the path to mastery, the transformation of fear. Now, consider standing at the precipice of a significant life decision, leaving a secure job to start a business, ending a relationship that is no longer healthy, moving to a new city where you know no one. An inner voice, loud and primal, screams for you to retreat, to stay safe, to avoid the risk. But a deeper, quieter, more authentic part of you knows, with certainty, that you must advance. This is the pivotal moment of choice, the instant where your action or inaction can alter the entire trajectory of your life. I've been there many times, not on a literal cliff's edge, but on the psychological edge of my comfort zone, where fear felt as tangible and solid as the ground beneath my feet. The Stoic teacher Epictetus, who knew profound physical and psychological hardship, once said, "It is in the facing of our fears that we uncover the vast reserves of strength residing within us." This insight has been a guiding beacon for me during those times when fear's shadow loomed so large it threatened to eclipse all other possibilities. It is essential to reflect on the intimate and often misunderstood connection between fear and potential growth. Every single time I have mustered the courage to confront a fear head-on, I have discovered on the other side that the fear itself was merely a gateway, an initiation into a new level of my own capability and confidence. I recall the visceral terror of my first major public speaking engagement. The fears were multifaceted and palpable: fear of judgment, of forgetting my words, of public humiliation, of failure. My body was screaming at me to flee, but by choosing to feel the fear and move forward despite its deafening noise, I not only survived the experience but, to my astonishment, discovered a latent talent and a genuine passion for connecting with and inspiring an audience. The fear was the price of admission to a part of myself I never knew existed. So, how can we practically meet our fears with this kind of stoic courage? Once again, preparation and a shift in perspective are absolutely vital. When a specific fear arises, I take a moment to interrogate it with the cold, analytical eye of a scientist. I ask, what is the absolute worst-case scenario that my mind is projecting? If that worst case happened, how would I handle it? What is the actual statistical probability of that worst-case scenario occurring? You will often find, upon honest examination, that the feared scenario is both significantly less likely and far less catastrophic than the horror story your amygdala has concocted. Mentally rehearsing a successful, confident outcome, rather than obsessively visualizing failure, has been an equally powerful tool for me. Your mind is a powerful simulator. Use it to your advantage. Another transformative aspect of working with fear is learning to channel its raw, vibrational energy into focused, decisive action. I no longer try to eliminate the feeling of fear entirely. That is often impossible. Instead, I acknowledge its presence and then consciously use its intense, nervous energy as a propellant. I convert the anxiety into action. This alchemical process doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, it becomes incredibly empowering. Think of fear not as your enemy, but as a source of potential energy, coiled tightly within you like a spring. When you release that spring with intention and direction, it provides the powerful thrust you need to leap forward into new territory. We cannot overstate the importance of proactively confronting our fears for unlocking our full potential and living a life of true fulfillment. I would never have developed new skills, built deeper confidence, or discovered hidden passions if I had remained safely within the confines of what was familiar and comfortable, governed by a fear of failing or looking foolish. Every fear you consciously choose to face and dismantle removes a critical barrier standing between you and your most significant goals and your most authentic self. A single courageous act today, no matter how small it seems, could be the key that opens the door to a future so bright and expansive you can't even imagine it from where you currently stand. Finally, we arrive at our 10th and culminating principle, which is the ultimate expression of wisdom and freedom, the freedom of release. Throughout this entire journey, I have cultivated a skill that has perhaps brought me the most profound peace and emotional liberty of all: the subtle art of letting go. Picture yourself once more in the heart of a vast, quiet forest. You are simply sitting, observing the trees as they sway gently in the breeze. You make no attempt to direct the wind's direction or to silence the rustling of the leaves. You are in a state of pure, non-attached observation. This is the essence of release. Release is so often mistaken for apathy or a lack of caring. It is neither. It is, rather, a profound invitation to free ourselves from the self-imposed chains of our own rigid expectations, our demanded outcomes, and our desperate need to control the uncontrollable. I want you to consider deeply how many times you have experienced unnecessary stress, anxiety, or anger, simply because the reality of a situation did not match the precise blueprint you held in your mind. I have been there countless times, a slave to my own attachments. Through the practice of release, we choose to live with the empowering understanding that while we must always do our absolute best, the ultimate outcome is not always, or even often, ours to command. In daily practice, release becomes a graceful exercise in focusing exclusively on your own input, your effort, your integrity, your intention, while consciously detaching from the specific output or result. For instance, when I was working to mend a strained relationship in the past, I was overly attached to a specific, predefined result, a particular apology, a certain emotional response from the other person. This attachment created immense anxiety and frustration. I learned the hard way to shift my focus to the only thing I could control, being authentically kind, patient, and honest in my interactions. I released my tight-fisted anxiety over how my actions would be received and how the relationship would ultimately end up. This shift didn't just dramatically reduce my personal stress, it allowed for a more genuine, unforced, and organic connection to develop, one that was not burdened by my expectations. Release is a central, non-negotiable tenet of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed we find true serenity not by trying to rearrange the world to our liking, but by wholeheartedly accepting the things we cannot change and concentrating our efforts solely on our own actions, judgments, and voluntary choices. Epictetus, who had his own leg brutally broken as a slave and yet found ultimate freedom, taught, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This mindset has granted me a level of equanimity I once thought impossible, allowing me to handle professional setbacks and personal heartaches without being violently tossed about by emotional storms. Letting go of what you cannot change is not giving up. It is the first step to changing everything that truly matters yourself. Let's speak directly now. Imagine you're in a difficult spot right now, a workplace dispute, a financial pressure, a seemingly unreachable personal ambition. I invite you to practice release in this very moment. Ask yourself with brutal honesty, what single aspect of this situation can I actually influence? Is it your preparation, your attitude, your next action? Then pour your heart and soul entirely into that one thing, and consciously, deliberately, let go of the rest, the outcome, the other person's reaction, the market conditions. I know this is challenging. It goes against our deepest instincts to control, but with consistent practice, it will dramatically lower your suffering and increase your effectiveness. Start small to gently integrate release into your life. A technique I find immensely useful is a simple acceptance meditation. Each morning, I sit for just a few minutes, breathe deeply, and mentally practice accepting all my thoughts and feelings, the good, the bad, the ugly, without resistance or judgment. I allow them to be there, and then I allow them to pass. This sets a tone of calm allowance for the entire day ahead. Always remember, release is not a lack of care or passion. It is the highest form of wisdom. It is the conscious choice to not allow circumstances outside our command to sweep us away into despair, anger, or anxiety. Ultimately, release is what allows us to live fully, passionately, and courageously, and to embrace life as it unfolds in all its beautiful, messy, unpredictable glory, with resilience, grace, and an open heart. Marcus Aurelius, who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, mastered this, stating, "Conquer your reactions, and you have conquered your peace." Remember that. Your peace is the ultimate victory. And that brings us to the end of our journey through these 10 transformative principles. If this deep dive has resonated with you, if you feel a spark of recognition that these ancient ideas can truly elevate your modern life, then I have a small request. Please take a second to like this video. It may seem like a small gesture, but it truly helps this channel, Stoic Mindset Mastery, reach other seekers who are yearning for the same peace, strength, and clarity. And I am genuinely curious to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below, which one of these 10 principles are you going to commit to implementing first in your own life? Your journey toward an unbreakable mindset starts with a single conscious choice.